Facebook. Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal requested Messeri or Mark Zuckerberg testify after a whistleblower revealed research showing the danger the site poses for young girls and teenagers. For more on this, I am joined by Sarah Fisher. She's a media reporter for Axios. Sarah, great to have you on the show. So how has Instagram and Messeri in particular responded to those concerns about Instagram's safety for kids?
Well, for one, I mean, they're agreeing to come out and testify before Congress. So that's one big response, that they're willing to be acknowledged there. But then the other is that they were building an app or a separate function for users under the age of 13. And after the whistleblower, Frances Haugen, revealed research that shows ways the app could be harmful to younger users, Instagram came out and said, we're not going to build that app. We're putting that on pause for now. So those two of the biggest things that they've responded to. They said, we're willing to talk to Congress. They said, we're going to put that app on pause. But the thing that I'm looking to see is whether or not they're going to go and make changes beyond that. And I think that's only something we're going to find out at the hearing this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've also heard Instagram really downplay those whistleblower concerns, and as you say, they've decided to pause that Instagram for kids, but they haven't said that they've completely eliminated the idea. As I mentioned in the intro, Messeri has been the head of Instagram since 2018. Tell us a little bit about his leadership, what's changed on Instagram since he came into power. What more do we need to know about him?
So Adam Messeri is a product guy. He was at Facebook long before he was named the head of Instagram. He was head of the news feed. And this is somebody who really understands design, engineering, product, and technology. The biggest changes that have happened since he's taken the helm at Instagram is that it's become a more creator-friendly platform. He's introduced a bunch of things like tipping creators, bringing video to Instagram, etc. But what it means for kids is that as Instagram becomes more creator-friendly, more engaging, it also means that the platform has to compete with other platforms that are looking to do the similar kind of stuff. You know, Instagram introduced Reels in 2020. Obviously, that's the primary focus of TikTok. And so in order to stay competitive, Instagram has to, of course, continue to lure younger users. And that tension is what Adam Messeri has had to oversee for the past couple of years, making sure that they're innovating fast enough, bringing these new features to the platform, but at the same time, making sure that when they're trying to lure that younger audience, they're not doing things that might be damaging to younger users' health.
That, I think, leads pretty nicely to a question about what we expect that lawmakers are going to be asking Messeri during this testimony. And then the other part of it, too, that I'm interested in getting your take on, Sarah, is what do we expect to actually come out of this hearing?
That's such a great question. I think what lawmakers are going to be looking for this week is accountability. You know, Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, he's been the one leading this charge. The Senate Commerce Committee is going to be hosting it. They want to know exactly what Instagram knew, according to the research the whistleblower revealed, about ways that its platform harmed potentially younger users and what they're going to do about it moving forward. What I expect Instagram to say is that, one, the research that the whistleblower put forth, I'm sure they're going to argue was inconclusive, was not representative of what they found. And so I want to see what he says they actually think the platform does for younger users. But two, I'm curious, and I know you are too, to hear a little bit about what their plans are moving forward. So they said they're going to pause doing that app for users under 13. What does that mean? Are they going to repick it up soon? Are they going to put it on pause for years? I don't know the answer to that. I'm also curious to see moving forward what kind of research they're going to do to showcase how users are responding to the platform. Clearly, this research was done, but then once it was leaked, you know, I hope that they're not going to be bearish about putting that kind of stuff out there moving forward, because I think it's important. I want to know how kids feel about the app. I want to know how kids feel about all social media use. It's not something that I had to deal with necessarily as a kid. And so I think it's important that we learn more about it as we're building these features.
Yeah, particularly some of the findings from that research about mental health and the negative repercussions that social media and Instagram in particular can play. You know, you mentioned that Senator Blumenthal is leading the questioning for Messeri. He actually wrote a letter to Mark Zuckerberg accusing the company Meta, formerly known as Facebook, of giving, quote, false or inaccurate testimony regarding efforts to conceal that internal research. How much do you expect Messeri is actually going to respond respond to that aspect of Blumenthal's line of questioning, the idea that there was potentially false testimony given?
Well, the false testimony that was given that appeared in some of these SEC complaints was actually on the number of users. And that matters because a lot of younger users use, fake Instagram accounts called Finstas. Senator Blumenthal sort of came under fire for not exactly understanding what those were. But it's not two different users. It's two different accounts used by the same user. So I'm sure they're going to ask about some of those Finstas and fake accounts, et cetera. I also think that what they're going to ask about is this research that came out from the whistleblower actually representative of what your findings are? Now, Facebook says it's not. They say that the research has been cherry-picked, et cetera. But I imagine that they're going to want to find out exactly which parts of it are true and which parts of it are not. If Facebook or Meta is saying that this data was cherry-picked and not representative, then what's the full representation? They haven't exactly come out and put forth every single document publicly.
All right. Good point. Sarah Fisher, thank you.
Thank you.
And you can watch Adam Mosseri's Instagram hearing before the Senate on Wednesday, right here on CBSN. The Biden administration's Commission on Court Reform will have a final meeting this week before submitting its findings to the president. It's finalizing a report studying proposals to expand the size of the Supreme Court and impose